thanks for that. And we are here with our community segment today. We've got Check Call with Mary O'Connell coming in hot on this Tuesday morning. And of course, we are talking, Mary, about a very exciting milestone for your show, turning 100 episodes old. And this is a pretty big one for a podcast. I really don't feel like it's been that long for Check Call, but it's been a good one. That's 100 weeks of Check Call.
It really is 100 weeks of Check Call. It has been, I didn't think that it was 100 until I was sitting there and I'm like, oh, we have a 100th episode in like 2 weeks. I should probably do something special for it. So, Check Call's 100, and what a time it has been. So for all of us for everyone who's been there A1 since day one, I cannot thank you enough. It has been the coolest thing I think I've ever done is just have a job that lets me interview people and talk to them about freight, because I don't know, it's really fun and cool.
So, Mary, Check Call has gone through some evolutions, just as the freight market has in the last 2 years that you've been doing it. Obviously, we've seen kind of this explosion in 2021 to this like trepidatious market in 2022 to really a big struggle and a massive down cycle throughout this whole entire year. And it's been a tough one for brokers. We know that it's been that kind of roller coaster ride that happens as the market flips. How has the show kind of changed in theme or in topic as we've navigated these market rides over the last kind of 2 years?
Well, obviously, when we started the show, it was it was 2 years ago. So it was the end of 2021 or like the fall of 2021. And, that's when things were really kind of getting crazy. And then we had to ride the downturn and kind of what to do next and what does that landscape look like for brokers. So obviously incorporating a good market update every month was absolutely crucial. So we have that. And then, some of our topics went from, because, when there's a hot freight market, you can sell to pretty much anyone, like throw a stick, you're going to hit someone that wants you to haul their freight. But when that market turns, you have to shift your kind of thinking and your approach to things. So we made sure to focus on, what selling looks like in a hot market, what selling looks like in a down market. How do I go and prospect freight and actually win those customers when everyone and their brother is calling the exact same list of customer from the exact same list of leads? So it's one of those where, you just kind of have to get creative and then some other solutions. And then, we just are trying to cover everything that potentially could be involved in a brokerage, from some cool new technology to the role that AI plays. I mean, 2 years ago, we weren't even thinking about AI's role within a brokerage and how it can help automate some of those easy tasks. So it's really been fun to kind of see the evolution of the freight market and how, maybe some things that we were talking about in the beginning aren't necessarily applicable, or they're not as big of a feature as they are now.
So, Mary, you talk a lot about freight tech on the show, and you mentioned AI and you mentioned machine learning. But again, freight tech has also had this really massive evolution in the last 2.5 years as well. We've again gone from some of these like really bright star players to the ones who could just barely hold on again in that changing market. Going into your now second 100th episodes, these next 100, what do you think the evolution of freight tech is going to look like in 2024, and how valuable is that going to continue to be to the brokerage space?
I am hoping for some big swings over the next 100 more episodes. I'm hoping that at episode 200, we can look back on this conversation and look back at maybe some technology that we talked about in the first 100 is now obsolete. Like, that would be fantastic, because I love the change that's going through the entire transportation supply chain industry, where, we're going from running our supply chains primarily on Excel, which I will continue saying it. Please stop running your supply chains on Excel. But where a lot of supply chains focused on Excel documents, and I'm patching 3 systems together to make calls just to run through one bid. I'm hoping that we are able to kind of fully eliminate stuff like that, and then make it easier for people and make it where I don't have to sit there and spend my entire morning calling drivers asking where they are. I can just click a button, send a text message, and everything's off, and we're having a great morning. I'm really hoping for some big advancements, because that's the entire change that's happening to the supply chain. And trucking and logistics industry is that, we're finally catching up to technology and, what other industries have. Like, we're finally getting that opportunity. We're finally getting that ability to be the tech forward industry. And I'm really, really excited to see kind of the changes that are going to happen, and especially how AI is going to play into it, along with any potential regulations that are going to come down the pipe.
Mary, those regulations are huge, and I can only imagine the types of changes that you've seen since you were in the 3PL space, to covering the 3PL space, to what we're going into now and the future. One of the big things, of course, that the 3PL space really profits off of is volatility, and we've seen this long, drawn-out, slow trend in the freight market lately. Do you see that or expect some type of a really decline or downward movement in the brokerage space, or do you think they have what it takes to really hold on going into 2024?
I think we're going to see a lot of both. I think we're going to see a lot of people who came in not really understanding the transportation industry, but they knew being a freight broker was a good way to make money in 2020, 2021. I think we're going to see a lot of that, but I think we're also going to see a lot of those longtime players understand what a down market cycle is, understand what they had to do in a hot market to prepare for this down market. So I think while, yes, we will see a lot come out on the other side relatively unscathed, I don't think anyone's getting away completely unscathed, but I do think we will see some fall for kind of not preparing for the downturn, because everyone who's been in this industry long enough knows the highest of highs are always followed very quickly by the lowest of lows. And we're in the low spot now. So I think as long as everyone, was smart, those who were smart and planned ahead in the high times, I think are going to be okay. But I do think, unfortunately, we are going to see more brokerages, fall over the next few months heading into the early of 2024, especially as January and February take some victims, because it's always a cold freight market in January and February, no pun intended. And it's just going to be interesting to see how people weather the storm after a sluggish and muted peak season. So I'm hoping the best for everybody, but I do think that we're going to have some more unpleasant headlines in our near future.
So, Mary, of course, reflecting on the last 100 episodes, you've had now 100 guests or so up on the show. Is there one that sticks out as a favorite? Is there one that was particularly memorable? And can you pinpoint them?
So we do have a highlight of some of the best stories we've gotten, and then some educational nuggets as well, because we have to at least, say that even though we do ask people if a hot dog's a sandwich, we do have some actual relevant and important things that we talk about. As for asking me which of my guests were my favorite, Kaylee, I'm not going to answer that, but I will leave one story that still has stuck with me this entire time, and that is from Philip Lamb from Blue Grace Logistics. And we had him on for a claims episode, talking about things to know when you have claims, kind of a claims 101, if you will, because for me, anytime someone mentioned something was wrong, I immediately shoved it off to the claims department and touched it never again, because I valued my life. So he was telling a story about, and the full clip is in the episode, and about a creative problem that they have with steaks missing from the refrigerator unit, but the seal wasn't broken. And so he kind of touches on how they had a creative solution to that problem. And the ending is, it's pretty wild. It literally made Brielle's jaw drop when she watched the clip.
So the people want to know, with the consensus vote, has a hot dog been deemed a sandwich or not? What's the consensus?
So I didn't track when I was watching it, and it's honestly a pretty even split. It is a pretty even split of a hot dog and a sandwich. I will still forever say that when you go to a deli, you're not going to see a hot dog on the menu. We have a great point for that one coming up with our next episode after the 100th episode with Lena Castaneda from Thai. So it's going to be really fun. People are really bringing their A game when it comes to a hot dog as a sandwich. We've brought out Merriam-Webster as a dictionary to officially rule on it, which, by the way, apparently Merriam-Webster does think that the hot dog is technically a sandwich. But the debate will continue on, as it should.
Amazing stuff, Mary, and congratulations on your 100 episodes. And I'm looking forward to your other endeavors as well with Bring on Ice, of course, and then, of course, Tracks Through Time as you team up on that one. So many things going on, such great content. Thanks so much.
Anytime, guys. Thanks for having me.